Hello and welcome to another Flutter tutorial. In this video, we will see how to use WebSockets in Flutter to communicate with the server. WebSocket helps a bidirectional persistent communication with server and client, which helps in building chat applications and applications with other similar functionalities. So we will also create our own socket with a custom port to communicate with our own server and send data back and forth. Okay, so let's start. So this is my main.dart file where I have set an empty container as a home for the material app. So let's create a new file, socketdemo.dart. Socket demo, which extends the stateful widget, and a title. So final string title is equal to socket demo. Okay, and we need the state as well. So socket demo state, which extends state of socket demo. So we are going to create a simple UI. So we need to override the init state method and the build method. Let's return a scaffold with APA with title, new text, widget.title. Okay, now the body with a container, padding. Let's set the padding to 20, and the child, which is a column with children. The first one is a text field. We need to have a controller for this text field. So let me create a text editing controller, initialize it with a new text editing controller. Alright, now let me give some decoration for the text field with the input decoration, a border, outline border, outline input border with a border radius. I'm going to give a circular border, so border radius.all, radius.circular with a radius of 6. Okay, now let me add some other properties. Filled to true, fill color to white 60, and content padding to 50. Also the hint text with message. Okay, now let's add another widget, an outline button with child, text, send message, and let's leave the onTrust event empty. Now let's go back to the main.dart file and import the socket demo, and let's set it as home for the material app. Okay, so I forgot to return the state. Okay, so if you restart the app, okay, so there is our UI. So let's create the WebSockets to communicate with the websocket.org website. Okay, so that website provides a simple echo server. So when we send some data through the socket to that website, it will echo back. Okay, so for that, let's import the WebSocket channel. Okay, so let's create a new variable, WebSocketChannel, and I'm going to initialize the socket channel. So that will be channel is equal to IOWebSocketChannel.connect, and we need to give the WebSocket.org website URL. So if you go to the Flutter documentation, you can copy it from there. So that's the URL. So let's write a new function, send message. The IOWebSocketChannel works with a concept called StreamControllers. So if you don't know StreamControllers, I have already made a video on that. I'll be providing the link to it in the description, or you can click on the I button above. StreamControllers works like a pipe. So if you add one side, you can get it on the other side. Okay, Here I am adding the data to a sink. so that the server will read it from its input stream, and since this is an echo server, it will echo the data back to the stream that we have to listen. Okay, so if you have a stream controller, don't forget to close it. Okay, so we have closed it. Now we need to listen to the stream. So for that we need to add a widget called Stream Builder. And the builder will have the context and the snapshot. Okay. And the builder needs to return a widget. So return padding. With padding, let's set it to vertical 24. And a child, which is a text. And I'm gonna check if the snapshot has data, then it will be snapshot.data. Otherwise, leave it empty. Okay, and we need to give the stream, so that will be channel.stream. Alright, restart the app. Okay, so there is some error, so let's fix that. I think I did something wrong here, so that should be has data. Okay, so the app is running now. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is to send data through the socket to the server. So what the server will do is it will echo back the data, so called SendMessage, in the on press of the button. So if the text field is empty, we are just returning. So let's click the button and you can see that the server is echoing back the data that we sent, right? Okay. So let's see how we can do this with our own server, how we can create a socket connection with our own server. So here in my system, I am running a local server. I'm using XAMPP for that. So if you don't know about XAMPP, I have made a tutorial in which I am describing how to install and run XAMPP and create a local server. We have a local server running now. So let's create a file in this server where we will create a new socket and listen for the incoming connections. Okay, so I'll be writing the code in PHP. So let's go to the editor. So let me create a new file. Let's save the file in the server. So if you have installed XAMPP, you can see a folder named XAMPP in the applications. So go inside XAMPP, htdocs. Here we will be saving our script. So let me create a folder. I'm gonna name it socket. And inside that folder, we are going to save our script. So let me name it server.php. Okay. Now let's write our script. So we need to give it a PHP tag. And the first variable is the host IP. So let me set it to 127.0.0.1 and the port. So it can be any number. Okay, so I am setting the timeout to 0, so it won't time out. And let's create the socket. So socket is equal to, so these are PHP functions, socket create or die. So if it fails, it will terminate the program. So these are PHP constants. Okay, the first parameter determines if it is IPv4 or IPv6. The second one is the stream. So that determines if it is a TCP or UDP. And third one is the protocol. So that's a TCP or UDP. And the result is equal to socket bind So if it fails, we will say could not find the socket and terminate. The parameters are the socket, the host, and the port. Now we need to listen to the incoming connections. So start listening to connections. So that is done with the help of socket underscore listen. Okay, or die with the message could not set up socket listener. Now I'm going to start an infinite loop that will accept the incoming connections until the program terminates. Okay, so guys, I'm just writing a simple script to make this work. You can modify this code according to your wish. Okay, now to listen to the incoming connections, we need to use socket underscore accept, and we need to give the socket or die could not accept incoming connections. Okay, next we are going to read the incoming data. So for that, an input variable is equal to socket underscore read. So that will read from the input stream, and a buffer or die could not read input. Now let's clean up the message. So that will be input is equal to, I'm just trimming out the spaces and printing it out. So echo client message input. Okay, now we will reverse the string and send it back to the client. So for that, a new variable output is equal to string reverse. So that's a PHP function to reverse a string. Okay, so once that is done, we need to write it back to the stream. So socket underscore write the variable spawn with the message and the length of the message. Okay, or die could not write output. Alright, and finally we need to close the sockets. So socket underscore close spawn and socket underscore close socket. So our server script is now complete. Now let's go back to the Flutter side. Here I am going to create a new class called socketUtils and import the convert package, the .io class socketUtil, a new variable socket, and a static constant string server IP. So that will be, so that should be our server's IP. So that's IP. Now we need the port. So server underscore port is 6000. Okay, sorry, so that's a integer. Okay, now let's write a method to send message to the client through the socket. So future boolean send message, so that accepts a message as the parameter. So we need a try catch. So if anything fails, we will return false. So socket is equal to await socket dot connect. So we need to give the host, server IP, and the server port. Okay, now we need to listen to the data that is sent back from the server, right? So socket dot listen list of int event. Okay, here we will get the data that is sent back by the server. Now we need to write the code to send message to the server, right? So socket.add will write the data to the stream that will be received by the server. Okay, so utf8.encode and the string and close the socket. Okay, so when your job is done, make sure to destroy the socket Alright, now let's go back to the main file, socket demo, and let me comment that out. Okay, and create a new variable string status and another variable socket util. Okay, so don't forget to import that and create a new object. So let's set the status to empty and the socket util is equal to new socket util, and I'm going to create a list of string variable to store the incoming messages from the server. So let me initialize that as well. Okay, and we don't need the string builder, so I'm going to comment it out, and we don't need the send message function as well, so let's comment that out. Okay, now let me go back to the socket utils class and print the message from the server. So that will be print message, and we need to decode the event variable. So UTF-8.decode event $message. Okay, so we have decoded the message now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write a method which I'm going to call ConnectionListener. So if the socket is properly connected, we are going to update the UI using this method. Okay, so I am updating the status variable to, if it is connected, I'm going to say connected, otherwise fail to connect. Okay, now let's show the status in the UI using a text widget. Okay, alright, now we need to use this method. So for that, I'm using the SendMessage function, and we need to pass in the message. The message is the text in the text field, and along with it I'm passing the function ConnectionListener. So let me add that function in the parameter and call ConnectionListener true if it is connected, and false if there is some error. Okay, now let's try clicking on send message. So it's saying fail to connect because our server is not running. So let's run the server. So let me go to the path. Okay, so that's our server. Okay, so there is some issue, so let's okay, so I forgot to give the parameters for socket listen. That will be socket, and the number of incoming connections that will be queued for processing. So let's set it to 3 for now, and now let's restart the server. Okay, now our server is running. Let me restart the app and let's try again. So if you click send message, it's saying connected. So the socket is connected to the server now. Alright, now if I go to the terminal, the debug console, you can see the server send back the message, right? It's reversing the string and it send back the message. Okay, so now that we have received the message, let's show the message in the UI. So for that I'm writing another function, void message listener. Okay, so that's going to receive the message. So the parameter string message. Okay, and I'm going to add this message to the messages list. So messages.add message. So if you call set state, that's going to refresh the UI. So let me pass this function to the send message. Okay, so we have to add one more parameter to the SendMessage function. So that will be function message listener. Okay, so when we receive the message from the server, which is inside socket listen, we are going to pass that message back to the message listener. That will add it to the list, and we will refresh the UI. We'll just print out this message here. Okay, alright, so restart the app, click on send message. You can see one message is added to the list, so that's the second message. Okay, so now we have the list of messages. So let's add a list view in the UI and show all these messages. So I'm adding an expanded widget with a list view inside. So item builder will have the context and the index. Okay, so we need to return a widget from here. So let me return a text widget with value messages of index and style, a new text style with font size 16 and color black. Okay, so let's restart the app. Okay, we need to set the item count. So if it is null, I'm going to set it to 0, otherwise messages.length. Okay, now you can see the messages in the UI. Okay, so the server is reversing the string and sending it back. Alright, okay, so here we have seen how to create a socket connection with IOWebSocketChannel, and we have also learned how to create a socket connection with our own server and send messages back and forth. So this was a very basic demo of how to use socket connections. You can expand this to create your own socket server and create chat applications and so on. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please give this video a like. Also, please share if you found this video useful and support me. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for notifications about my new videos. And finally, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.